For over 7 centuries, they've stood against the elements. Rising from the Zimbabwe plateau, these colossal stone walls curve and weave across the landscape, a silent testament to a forgotten empire. They are the ruins of Great Zimbabwe, and they hold a secret that has baffled historians and engineers for generations. The stones, some weighing several tons, are stacked with a precision that seems impossible. There is no mortar, no cement, no binding agent holding them together. So, how did they do it? How did an ancient African civilization, with no written records of their techniques, construct a city of stone so perfectly that it has endured for nearly a millennium? The answer isn't just about rocks, it's about a level of genius that would rewrite the story of engineering. In the late 19th century, when European explorers stumbled upon these magnificent ruins, they were met with a profound and unsettling mystery. The scale was breathtaking, a city sprawling over 720 hectares, dominated by a massive elliptical enclosure known as the Great Enclosure, with walls over 11 meters high and 5 meters thick. This was not the work of a small, transient community. This was the capital of a powerful kingdom, a center of trade and culture that flourished between the 11th and 15th centuries. But the prevailing colonial mindset of the era refused to accept the obvious. European archaeologists, blinded by prejudice, simply could not believe that indigenous Africans were capable of such a monumental architectural achievement. It had to be the work of someone else: Phoenicians, Arabs, even the Queen of Sheba. For decades, they spun elaborate, baseless theories, desperately searching for a foreign hand in the construction of Great Zimbabwe. The central problem was the stonework itself. The builders used locally quarried granite, a notoriously hard and difficult material to work with. They didn't just pile the rocks, they shaped them. The stones were cut into remarkably uniform rectangular blocks, a process called ashlar masonry, which requires incredible skill and patience. These blocks were then laid in precise, level courses, fitting together so tightly that you can't slip a piece of paper between them. Without mortar to fill gaps and correct imperfections, every single stone had to be perfectly shaped and placed. A single mistake, a single poorly cut block, could compromise the stability of the entire structure. The sheer mathematical and geometrical precision required was staggering. How did they achieve such uniformity without modern tools? How did they lift tons of granite to heights of over 30 feet? And most importantly, how did they plan and execute a design of this scale, with its complex curves and interlocking passages, without a single written blueprint? The silence of the stones was the ultimate obstacle. They stood as undeniable proof of a great civilization, yet offered no easy explanation for their own existence, leaving a void that prejudice and wild speculation rushed to fill. The first clue to unraveling this mystery lay in the very technique the builders employed: dry stone walling. While it sounds simple, achieving it on this scale is an art form. The masons of Great Zimbabwe were masters of gravity. They understood that the stability of the walls depended on the careful distribution of weight. The walls are built with a slight inward slope, a technique known as battering, which channels the immense weight of the upper courses downward and inward, locking the entire structure together. It's a self-stabilizing system. Furthermore, they laid the stones in distinct patterns, not just for aesthetics, but for structural integrity. Look closely, and you can see intricate designs like herringbone and chevron patterns woven into the walls. These weren't just decorative flourishes, they were sophisticated engineering solutions that helped to bind the layers of stone and prevent shifting. It was a form of structural reinforcement, encoded in the visual language of the architecture itself. This level of craftsmanship wasn't accidental, it was the result of a highly organized and specialized society. Archaeological evidence suggests that building Great Zimbabwe was not a haphazard project but a continuous, multi-generational effort. There must have been a guild of master masons, individuals who possessed a deep, inherited knowledge of geology, geometry, and physics. This knowledge was likely passed down from master to apprentice, a secret oral tradition perfected over centuries. They would have known exactly where to quarry the granite, understanding the natural fracture lines of the rock to make splitting it easier. They developed tool stone hammers, iron wedges, and chisels to meticulously shape each block. This wasn't primitive labor, it was a highly skilled profession. The existence of such a specialized class of artisans points to a complex social structure, one capable of supporting a non-agricultural workforce dedicated solely to the art of building. The city wasn't just built of stone, it was built on a foundation of specialized knowledge and social organization that rivaled any in the medieval world. But perhaps the most stunning revelation lies not in how they stacked the stones, but in how they planned the city. The layout of Great Zimbabwe is not random. The walls curve gracefully, following the natural contours of the land. The Great Enclosure, with its iconic conical tower, is a masterpiece of geometric design. Its shape is a near-perfect ellipse, a complex curve that is notoriously difficult to lay out on a large scale. To create it, the builders must have had a sophisticated understanding of geometry. They likely used a simple but effective method to fix posts, the foci, and a long rope of a fixed length. By tracing the path of the rope as it was pulled taut, they could scribe a perfect ellipse on the ground, creating a blueprint for the masons to follow. This simple tool, a rope and a few stakes, allowed them to execute a design of immense complexity and elegance. It was a low-tech solution to a high-concept problem. They didn't need advanced calculus or digital modeling, they had a practical, hands-on understanding of the mathematical principles that govern the physical world. The city's design was a dialogue between human ingenuity and the natural landscape, perfectly harmonized creation. The true climax of this story, the emotional peak of understanding, arrives when you stand before the great enclosure itself. It's here that all the pieces of the puzzle, the dry stone technique, the skilled masons, the geometric planning come together in a breathtaking display of power and purpose. The walls are not just a barrier, they are a statement. The sheer scale and perfection were designed to awe and intimidate. Imagine being a trader arriving from the Swahili coast, having traveled for weeks through the bush. You come over Arise and see this, a city of stone, glittering in the African sun, its walls rising impossibly high without a single smear of mortar. It would have been a profound, almost supernatural, experience. This was the center of an empire built on gold, ivory, and cattle, and the architecture was its ultimate expression of wealth and authority. The most shocking realization is that this society, at its peak in the 14th century, was a contemporary of the Gothic cathedral builders of medieval Europe. While masons in Paris and Chartres were using mortar and complex scaffolding to reach for the heavens, the Shona people of Great Zimbabwe were achieving a different kind of architectural perfection. One based on a unique understanding of gravity, geometry, and stone. They were not isolated or primitive, they were part of a global network of trade and ideas, and they developed a building technology perfectly suited to their environment and their materials. The colonial-era archaeologists were wrong. The genius behind Great Zimbabwe was not imported from some distant land. It was born here, on the African plateau. The proof is in the stones themselves, a silent, powerful rebuttal to centuries of prejudice. The absence of mortar is not a sign of a missing technology, it is the signature of a superior one. And so, we are left with a new, more profound appreciation for Great Zimbabwe. It is more than just a collection of impressive ruins, it is a landmark of human ingenuity. The walls stand as a powerful symbol of a sophisticated African civilization that was, for too long, denied its rightful place in world history. The builders of Great Zimbabwe may not have left us any written words, but their legacy is etched in every perfectly placed stone. They demonstrate that advanced engineering is not exclusive to one culture or one continent, and that genius can take many forms. The story of these walls teaches us a crucial lesson. Sometimes the most elegant solutions are the simplest, and the most powerful structures are the ones that work in harmony with the laws of nature, rather than fighting against them. The mortarless walls of Great Zimbabwe are not an unsolved mystery anymore. They are the answer, a timeless monument to the engineering genius of the Shona Kingdom.